What is going on, Dragon Ball fans? Welcome back to another Dragon Ball fan manga review, where today we're going to be reviewing the fan manga entitled Dragon Ball Multiverse, which of course is a fan manga set within its own timeline involving characters from both Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z. But the overall concept of Dragon Ball Multiverse involves fighters from different quadrants and parallel worlds in which come together for this grand multiverse battle to determine which universe and team is superior than the rest. And for many years now, I've been reviewing Dragon Ball fan concepts and mangas, so today we're going to be diving further into this manga chapter to further understand the gravity and nature of Dragon Ball Multiverse. So with that, we start off Dragon Ball Super Multiverse manga chapter number 10 with a special Future Trunks in-depth analysis as we see what happened during the story of Future Trunks within universe number 12 during the year of 790, and we see how Trunks is looking around. He finds a ladder and he says, "I really hate this place," in which we see how Trunks manages to go down the ladder and it looks like it's Dr. Gero's lab, and we see how Trunks is there and he says, "So, where are you?" So it looks like he's searching for somebody, and then all of a sudden we see how he pops open a lid and he says, "I found you." And within this, a few days later, we see how Bulma is reconstructing Android 16, in which Bulma says, "Let's do some tests, I'll switch him on." And we see how Bulma turns on Android 16, he opens up his eyes, he looks around, and he sees Trunks. And that's when Trunks says 16, with Android 16 having to say yes, and that's when Trunks says, "Son Goku died many years ago." And there's like an awkward silence for Android 16 as he says okay, with Trunks having to say, "From what I know, it looks like you want to protect the earth, nature, and life in general, is that right? Does that imply to humans as well? Will you help and protect the humans?" And that's when 16 says, "Yes, I like the humans too." And that's when Trunks says one last thing, and he begins to transform into his Ultra form, and that's when he says, "Can you scan my power level, number 16? Do you know how strong I am?" With 16 having to say yes, with Trunks having to follow by saying, "So, you can see that I'm stronger than you," with 16 having to say, "You are much stronger and much more than Dr. Gero can imagine," with Trunks having to smile and saying, "Yeah, I'm sure of that." And he powers down and says, "So here's the deal. We can repair you, you will get back to your normal self all good and running, but you will have to give us your time, energy, and power to help rebuild humanity. Are you okay with that?" With 16 having to say, "It would be a great pleasure," with Trunks having to say, "And if you act in any way that can be harmful to humans, I will destroy you immediately, just like I destroyed Android 18 and 17. Are we clear?" With 16 having to say, "We are clear," and then that's when Trunks says, "Mom, let's rebuild Android 16. So that's how we come to understand in Dragon Ball Multiverse how Trunks had made friends with Android 16, as we do understand that Trunks threatened him. He knows that if he goes out of bounds, he's gonna destroy him. But with that, we go into Dragon Ball Multiverse manga chapter number 11, as we see the tournament holder say, "Right now, I think that Vegito can contain him, but we absolutely have to fix that failure. I found it. It's a part that got burned." So that was during the part where they were trying to send Broly back to his universe, and we see all the way in the distance how Vegito is cocking back for a big bang attack, and we see how one of the tournament holders says, "Replace it. We have to send this Broly dude back, the sooner the better," with one of the Namekians having to say, "Too late." And we go back to the stadium and everything is in ruins. We see people flying around, and we see how Goten says the energy is piercing through the shield. The spectators are going to be harmed if we don't do something now. And we see how the tournament holder says, "The protective shields have held up, but the 1% of energy that we went through stunned and hurt the spectators. Send healers right away." So the entire arena is starting to get affected by Vegito versus Broly as we go back to the arena. And if you look closely, we see Nappa and Raditz like within a wall because of the force of the blast. And we see how Kakarot and Vegeta are the only ones standing, with Kakarot having to say such power. Even Cell says very impressive, with the Mega Namekian not having to say anything, just standing there watching. And we see how Gohan tells Piccolo, "Piccolo, are you okay?" With Piccolo having to say, "Yes, of course, but," and we see how Goku even says, "Did they survive?" And we look and we see Brosh is a Super Saiyan, and she says, "So, that's the power that you've been hiding, huh, Dad?" In which then we have the tournament holder say, "We've spotted the two fighters. Each of them is on the opposite direction within thousands of miles." And we see Broly lodged within this crater. And it was a pretty cool, scene to have, because that just goes to show the strength of Vegito. And we see how Broly quickly gets up and he flies out of the hole that he was just sent into. And we pan back down and we see how Trunks is asking people if they're okay. And we see how Trunks says Broly's ki is coming back to us very fast. left, with 16 having to have scanners in his head, and he says, and once again, his power exceeds Vegito's. As far for him, he's not budging. So 16 just confirmed that although Broly just took a massive hit, his power still exceeds even Super Saiyan 2 Vegito, in which Super Majin Buu says, well done Vegito, you're exhausted and he's back at you. I understand you wanted to have fun, oh sure, I understand, but what are you gonna do now that your new power has been surpassed by Broly's? I'll have to end this fight myself, it'll be a real pleasure, and when you're back on your feet, I'll crush you next. So it looks like Super Evil Majin Buu has something planned, and he knows of something when looking at Vegito and Broly, and knowing the fact that he looks like he's gunning for Vegito, but he's buying some time, in which we see Vegito, he's there, he's all beat up, he's bloody, he's hurt, and we see how Bra says there he is, with Gohan having to say, Dad, he's wounded, and Piccolo having to say, thinking of it, the last time Vegito got injured is when it never happened. Vegito has never been hurt ever since he was conceived. So this was the first time we've ever seen Vegito hurt, in which Vegito says, thanks for the fight, Broly, I don't think I'll have a stronger foe such as yours ever again, but we're gonna have to put an end to this. Your power keeps increasing and I can't protect them all. And we see how Piccolo says Broly's power has increased again, it's even higher than Vegito's now, in which Goku says maybe we should have helped him out when there was still time, and we see how Vegito sticks his hands out, and then out of nowhere he says, until now I've never shown this power to anyone. And then all of a sudden Vegito begins to power up, and there's this massive light that engulfs the entire arena, everyone is blinded, and then all of a sudden, to our surprise, we witness the powers of Super Saiyan 3 Vegito be born. And I'm not gonna lie to you guys, I've always wanted to see this actually happen in the anime, and since it never happened in the anime, at least it happened in the Dragon Ball Multiverse manga, introducing Super Saiyan 3 Vegito, in which we see everyone is shocked. King Cold is saying what's happening, with Jice having to say we're starting to levitate because Vegito's powers is so immense, it's causing people to levitate, in which we see the tournament holders say, quick, grab the ground is moving, maybe the artificial gravity of the ring is going wrong, what the heck is going on? And we see how one of them says no, there is a new center of gravity, Vegito is drawing us towards him, and Pan says it's getting risky here, we have to go, we all have to leave. So it looks like Vegito's powers is so immeasurable that he created his own gravity within his own being. And then we see the tournament holders say, ladies and gentlemen, the artificial gravity of the arena has been increased for you to stay on the ground, please try and hang on to something for your safety, sorry for the inconvenience. And we see how Trunks says Vegito has gathered so much power that his mass has also increased, scientifically a bit far-fetched, but he created his own gravity, in which Gohan says this is crazy, Vegito must have the same mass as the moon, his density is close to that of a black hole. That's how powerful Vegito is in this manga, guys. He's so dense and he's so massive in terms of density and his own gravity that he has the same effect of that as a black hole. So then we see Vegito cock back, and then he unleashes the final Dragon Flash, which we can all assume that it's the Super Dragon Fist combined with the Final Flash attack, in which Vegito launches the Final Dragon Flash, and it looks amazing. At first, it resembles that of a massive Final Flash, and then we see a massive dragon emerge, and we see the dragon completely engulfing Broly. Now, you would assume at this point that Broly should be dead, and we see how Vegito's blast was so strong it sent Broly out into deep space. And I know for a lot of you guys, you may be wondering, well, how is Super Saiyan 3 Vegito comparable to Broly? But it looks like he powered down, and Goku and Gohan are saying incredible, unbelievable, bravo, like this was amazing. And even Shin said he is just unbelievable, and even Majin Buu giving respects and saying super, super, encore. And then the tournament holders having to say it's been 30 seconds that Broly is away from our eyesight. Vegito from universe number 16 wins the battle, and Bra says of course he wins. And then Cell says he's stronger than me for sure, but I can't give up, I am Cell. And we see how all of Frieza's family members are just like shocked by this, like their jaws are dropping, both Cooler, King Cold, and Frieza. And we see how the tournament holders say say, we begin a small break to give time to our Namekian healers so they can take care of everyone. Please bear with us. So we see how everyone in the stands, everyone is hurt. People are just like all over the place, but Super Majin Buu says this. He says, well done, Vegito. I wasn't expecting such a finale, but you impressed me, really. Everyone is very occupied celebrating your victory. I can take off a little. So we see how he disappears. Vegito comes down, and we see how the Namekians are saying, would you like to be healed? With Vegito having to say, no thanks. The Namek healing isn't enough for me anymore, but no worries, we have some sensu beans. So Vegito refuses to be healed because he even tells the Namek that it's pretty much impossible for a Namekian to heal him, but Majin Buu is gone, and we see Majin Buu in deep space, and he teleports there, and he's saying, yes, this way, and we see how he says, this teleportation from Kambito Shin should still be useful. Am I close enough? Yes, I found the energy of that attack that Broly was pushed by. And even Vegito himself notices that Super Buu is gone and saying, where is he? And that's when Piccolo says, where is who? With Vegito having to put his fingers on his forehead and saying, found him, follow me. And we see how he leaves, and Piccolo's like, follow him? Like, what is he talking about? And Gohan having to say, but what does he expect? We don't even know where he went. And we see how Majin Buu's in space. He's assumingly waiting for Broly to come in his direction, and he does. We see how Broly's blast is sent towards Buu's direction, and we see how he says, that's the beauty of relative speed. You are now motionless from my point of view. It's been years since I've found someone worthy of being absorbed. You should feel honored. And now I'm going to free you from this energy ball. In which just about when he's about to do that, we see how Vegito ends up teleporting right in front of Super Buu, and he says, I knew it. And Buu's plans were foiled as we see Majin Buu say, what? How the heck did you find me? And Vegito having to say, oh, I saw that you needed 2 teleportations to get here, but me, I never lost track of Broly. You can't attack him, the rules are clear. And Majin Buu having to say, rules? We're millions of kilometers away from the arena. With Vegito having to say, Majin Buu, I destroyed you once, I can do it again, you won't absorb Broly. With Majin Buu having to say, and what are you gonna do? I'm already certain that I can beat you, but a weakened version of you? That's just not even funny. What kind of fight do you expect to even put up anyway? How much time can you stay in space without breathing? In which we see how the tournament holders are saying, we have the spare parts, it should really be repaired in 5 minutes. Let's do it, then we must send this monster back home. In which Majin Buu says, I prefer that we do a real fight. You can't even imagine the powers I've got now. And we see how all of a sudden Vegito just disappears. And we see how it says, you saw I was discreetly moving a part of me towards Broly, although I made it tiny. Well done. I guess we can't catch you by surprise, Vegito, and that you've mastered the only technique that can destroy me. So all of a sudden he's gone, and we see how Majin Buu just shoots out all of these heads, all of like these little Super Buu heads, and he says, but can you destroy each of these parts of me? In which he begins to like replicate parts of him, and we see how Bra is saying I can't find him, with Piccolo having to say search in that direction. That's where Broly was carried away. I don't see where anywhere else he would go. And in which we see how the tournament holders say we can announce the next match. We have universe number 5 Lucama versus universe number 10, so it's a forfeit because those contestants aren't here, with Bojack having to say they don't even know the guy from the 5th universe is gone too. These birdies really don't know how to control anything, with them having to be back in control saying, oh, my part, the gravity operates normally. They sent back, the system is almost working, everything is fine, as the manga comes to a close. So pretty much what this tells me is that the birdies that govern the entire tournament sent the wrong person back, in which I do think that by some mere chance they must have sent back Vegito instead of Broly. Now again, Majin Buu's motives for this is to absorb Broly to gain his powers, because as strong as Majin Buu is, he still isn't the strongest one there. In comparison to Vegito, he may be bluffing, but if he absorbs Broly, it'll be lights out, game over for everyone at the tournament. So now that Vegito is gone, you have to ask yourselves as to who is going to stop Majin Buu now, which I do want to personally say the overall appearance of Broly having to keep up with Super Saiyan 2 Vegito kind of seemed a little silly to me, because Super Saiyan 3 Vegito unleashed such a powerful blast. In a way, it should have completely killed Broly off, but instead it sent them out into deep space. Now again, to me, I don't really have a problem with that, but the overall idea of Broly being able to survive Super Saiyan 3 Vegito was just dumb, because some people are gonna say, well, he never stopped increasing, and even after he took the Big Bang into the moon, he, you know, arguably had a Zenkai boost from that, because he came back a lot stronger and still surpassed Vegito. So despite anything else, Broly grows in terms of power no matter what, so I kind of get that. But post your comments down below, guys. What are your overall thoughts on this manga chapter? What are your overall thoughts on Super Saiyan 3 Vegito? Post your comments down below, guys. Thank you all for watching. If you guys are Dragon Ball fans, don't forget to go on ahead and subscribe to this channel, guys, for more news, information, updates, and of course manga reviews. If you guys enjoyed, slap a like down below. Make sure to also go on ahead and turn on notifications, guys. That way you guys are always notified whenever a Dragon Ball video is posted on the channel, or if that any other video in and of itself, guys. Thank you all for watching once again. Tune back in for more, and I'll be seeing you all down in the comment section below. Take it easy, guys. Peace.